Hi, I'm Kristin Omdahl. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make some of these really adorable crochet candle holders. They're a quick gift. They're easy to make. You can give them as gifts without spending hours and hours working on it, but nobody will know that they were quick to make. They are beautiful by day because you get to show off all your beautiful stitch work, and at night, that's when the beauty really pops, because when the candle light glows out of the negative space of the candle, you just see this beautiful ethereal glow of your stitch work. It's just amazing. You'll have to see it to believe me. Let's get started. In the first part of this video, I'm going to show you how to make this candle holder. This one here with the shells. And what you're going to need, for your finished project at least, you're going to need one flameless votive candle. It works on battery and you turn it on and off like this. It's really cool because it flickers like a candle too. See that? Okay, and so to make this we're going to need a 4-inch bubble vase. It's glass and I picked them up at my local craft store. You're also going to need some yarn, and I have some silver Be So Fine yarn, which is my fingering weight bamboo yarn. You could use bamboo, cotton, or something that you prefer. Fingering weight works really nice for this project because we're going to be using a size E 3.5 millimeter crochet hook. And then towards the end you are going to need a pair of craft scissors and a yarn needle for weaving in the ends, but I'm really excited to tell you that this project does not require the use of other type of unnatural substance to make the yarn stick to the base. What we're going to do is decrease around the very last round, and I'll show you how to do that when we get there. So what we're going to start with is a little bit of yarn, and we're going to join it into a ring on your crochet hook. You start by tying the yarn onto the crochet hook with a simple knot, and we're going to chain 5. Then we're going to join into the first chain with a slip stitch to create a ring. We're going to chain 3, which counts as our first double crochet, and we're going to double crochet into that chain 5 ring, not into the actual chains but the space in the middle of the ring. So yarn over your hook, insert it into the ring, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert your hook in the ring, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's a double crochet, and we're going to do that 15 more times in the ring for a total of 16 double crochets, and that's because the first chain 3 counted as our first double crochet, and that's because you need to get height in order to be at the right height for the double crochets. The chain 3 counts as one, otherwise you couldn't get that height just from a double crochet. So once again, it's yarn over, insert your hook in the ring, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And if you notice, I'm working the beginning tail, working the stitches around that as well as the ring, and what that does is it's just a little tip for reducing the amount of work in the end. By working all of your stitches around the beginning tail, you don't actually have to weave in the loose ends of that one. When we're done with this round, you'll see that it's already hidden all the way around, and you can just snip it at the end of this beginning round even. Let's see where we're at. We've got chain 3, which counts as our first double crochet, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Notice how it's getting kind of snug. It's really simple to just make yourself some more room. We need 3 more stitches, so we're just going to slide the stitches over a little bit to make room for our last 3. 14, 15, and yarn over, insert your hook in the ring, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now you're going to join with a slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 at the beginning of the round. So that's chain 1, chain 2, chain 3. I'm going to join in that one there. So you want to slip your hook into the chain, slip all the way through. There's your slip stitch, chain 1, single crochet in the same spot. Okay, and then we're going to chain 5. skip one stitch, and single crochet in the next stitch. And that's what the repeat is going to be on this round. It's going to be chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip one stitch, and single crochet in the next. Skip one, single crochet in the next. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip one, single in the next one. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip one, single crochet in the next one. And because we have a total of 16 double crochets in the last round, because we're skipping one and then working in the next one, we should have a total of 8 chain 5 spaces at the end of this round. 3, 4, 5, skip one, single in the next one. Okay, now for the last chain 5 space on this round, we're going to do something a little bit different, and that's because if we were to just continue on with chain 5 and single, we're going to end at the bottom down here in the the valley between the two arches of the chain 5 loops. I don't want to end there. I want to end at the top in the middle. So what I'm going to do is a chain 2, double crochet in that first single crochet at the beginning of the round. That chain 2 and double crochet counts in linear space the same as a chain 5 mesh. So now what we've got is the same exact size mesh as the other 7 in the round, but we're also ending up at the top and in the middle of that last chain 5 space. Okay, so now we can start with a shell at the very beginning of this round. And so we're going to chain 3, which counts as a double crochet. We're going to double crochet 3 more times in that space. So yarn over, insert your hook into the space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to do that 2 more times in this space. Yarn over, insert your hook into the hole, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So now we have 4 double crochets in that space. Now these shells are 4 double crochets, chain 2, 4 double crochets, but we started at the middle of this mesh, so we only need to do in essence, the left side of the shell. When we come around the whole round, we're going to finish that shell over here. So let me show you a whole shell in the next chain 5 space. We're going to do 4 double crochets, 3 and 4, pull some more yarn here, and then we're going to do a chain 2, and then 4 more double crochets in that same chain 5 space. And you'll see now we have a whole shell in this one, whereas we only had a half a shell in the first one. Pull some more yarn. Okay, so now we're going to just repeat that 4 doubles, chain 2, 4 doubles in each of the chain 5 spaces around. Yarn over, insert your hook in the hole, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and pull through 2. The more you do it, the better you will get at it. This is the double crochet. Chain 2, 4 more doubles, okay, so now we have a second shell done. What I want you to do is repeat that all the way around this round. I'll show you one more. Yarn over, insert your hook in the chain 5 space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, insert your hook in the hole, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We'll do 3 more. And we'll do a chain 2, and then we'll do 4 more. Once you master this round, this is actually the only round we're going to be repeating. This pattern is a 1 round pattern until we get to the very end when we're joining it onto the glass bubble base. So this one is probably the simplest of all the patterns I'm going to show you for the candle holders. Okay, last whole shell. Okay, so now we're back to the beginning where we have a half a shell in that first chain 5 space. So I'm going to show you how to finish that one now. We're going to do 4 double crochets to get this side of the shell complete. And now to replicate the chain 2 that goes between the two sets of 4 double crochet, we're going to replicate the linear space with a half double crochet, which is yarn over, insert your hook in the top of the chain 3 at the beginning of the round, yarn over, pull up a loop. Now you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. So now we have the equivalent of a chain 2 space, and we've positioned ourselves in the top center of that chain 2 space in the middle of the shell. So I'm going to set that down so you can see we have our first round complete now. Now the exciting part, or the easy part, is that you have all of the tools you need to continue and make the rest of the rounds of this pattern. We're going to do 7 rounds total. So we're going to do 7 rounds of these shells, and then at that point I will show you how to do the joining to the vase. So now we're working into the chain 2 spaces instead of those big chain 5 spaces. It's that chain 2 space in the top of each of the shells. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into that chain 2 space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to do 4 of those total. I'm going to chain 2 and 4 more double crochets in that same chain 2 space. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to skip those 4 double crochets down there. We're going to skip the 4 double crochets at the beginning of the next shell, and we're only going to work into the chain 2 spaces all the way around. We're doing enough stitches in each of those chain 2 spaces that it pulls us around so that even though it looks like we're skipping a lot of stitches and we're going to make a mess, we really aren't. It's going to lay flat at this point. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into the chain 2 space, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2. Chain 2, 4 more double crochets in the same chain 2 space. And we have another shell complete. We're going to skip all 8 of those stitches. We're going to work only in the chain 2 space at the top center of the next shell. Yarn over, insert your hook in the chain 2 space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And we'll do that 4 times. Okay, so now we've got 4 double crochets, chain 2, and 4 double crochets. We'll skip these 8 stitches and we'll work again in that next chain 2 space. We're going to work 4 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, grab some more yarn, chain 2 and 4 more doubles in that same space. We skipped the 8 stitches below to work only in the next chain 2 space. 4 double crochets, chain 2, and 4 more double crochets. Okay, so now we're about halfway around, and I'm going to show you what it looks like on the actual finished one. See, there's the bottom of it. And now we're on that next row here. So what I want you to do is continue working these rounds until you get 7 of them total, and then I'm going to show you how to finish this. Okay, if you've finished your last round of the stitch pattern, your piece probably looks like this, like a little baby hat. And now we're going to take this and turn it into this. Before we go any further though, I would like to try it on just to make sure it is the right height, the right width and all that good stuff, and it looks to be about so. What you want is for the tips to just barely cover the top, because then doing our decrease round we'll get it nice and snug on there. So we'll take that back off for now, and we're going to start this round with, of course, sliding our loop back tight on the hook. We're going to start it with a chain 1 and single crochet in that chain 2 space, chain 3. We're going to skip all those stitches and single crochet in the next chain 2 space, chain 3, single crochet in the next chain 2 space. And what I like to do is get about halfway around before putting the crochet onto the glass vase, because then the rest of it will actually have to be crocheted right onto it in order to avoid starch and glue and all the other unnatural materials you would need to get this to stay on. Whoops, I went too far. That's what happens when you start talking, right? Okay, so we're about little less than halfway around, and I'm going to slide this on. And the tight part that we just did, you want to make sure that gets all the way up. There we go. Okay, and so now for the rest of the round, we're actually going to work onto the glass, which is a little wonky at first, and it'll take a little practice to get used to. Like, for example, going to work the next single crochet here, you're going to pull a little bit tighter with your left hand in the working yarn, and when you go to make the stitch, it may not be done in one swoop. You may have to end up taking the step that you normally, when you pull through both of those loops in one pull, you might end up doing it exaggerated in 2 steps like that. It's the same single crochet, it just looks like 2 steps because you're having to go through each loop individually. So we did a chain 3. We're going to single crochet through the next chain 2 space. That one worked out pretty easy. And we're going to work into the next one here. This one's going to take 2 steps. There we go. Chain 3, single crochet in the next chain 2 space. Whoops. Pull that a little longer. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Oh, we're already back to the beginning, so we're going to slip stitch into the single crochet at the beginning of the round to join, and we're going to cut the yarn, fasten off, and we have ourselves an adorable little holder, or candle holder, made out of crochet. All you need now is to turn on your little flameless votive candle and stick it inside. Wait till you see what that looks like at night. It is so gorgeous. All you have left to do, of course, is to weave in your loose ends, and you are ready to give a fabulous gift or enjoy this for yourself. Next up, we will be learning how to make the bigger one. Next up, I'm going to show you how to crochet a candle holder using this really pretty lotus bud stitch pattern. And I've done one already in the 4-inch globe, but now I want to show you how to do it in the 5.5-inch. See how much bigger that is? So that's what we're going to do in this segment of the video. I'm going to start with tying the yarn onto our hook, just like normal. A loose knot, and we're going to chain 5. Join with a slip stitch to create a chain 5 ring. Chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. And we're going to double crochet in the ring. All right, let me show you how many we did on this one. So this one has 12 double crochets in the ring because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we have 6 on here, 6 repeats. So we did 12. So on this one, I'm actually going to do more to create the larger radius for, or larger circumference actually, for the 5.5-inch. So we're going to do 16 total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're at 7 now. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Okay, so we're going to slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 at the beginning of the round. And there we have our first round done. Round 2 begins with a chain 1, single crochet in the same stitch, chain 5, skip 1 stitch, single crochet in the next, skip 1, single crochet in the next, and we're going to repeat that all the way around. But at the end of the round, we're going to replace the last chain 5 with the chain 2 double crochet, and I'll show you that when we get there. And just pull in yarn as I go. Okay, so now, because we want to end up in the center top portion of the last chain 5 space, I'm going to chain 2 and double crochet in the first single crochet from the beginning of the round, and see where that leaves us. If we'd have just done our traditional chain 5, we would have ended at the bottom here, in between, like in the valley between the arches of the chain 5s, and now instead we end not only in the center but at the top, and that's where I need to be to start the beginning of this next round. We're going to start with chain 3, which counts as a double crochet. We're going to work 4 more double crochets in that same stitch. So the chain 3 and the 4 doubles count as 5 double crochets in that spot. We're going to chain 5, single crochet in the single crochet down there between the arches of the chain 5s in the round below, chain 5, and now we're going to do 5 double crochets in the next chain 5 space, but not in the space, but actually in this top center 3rd chain of the chain 5. So in the center one at the top, we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and we're going to do that 5 times total in that same chain space, not the chain 5 space, but the actual chain, one of the actual chains, like that. A lot of patterns call for working in the big space down there. This one doesn't. If you absolutely despise doing it, you could always work in the big space instead, which I normally prefer. But for this particular stitch pattern, I felt like it really tightened up the flower bud, and it just looks more like a lotus flower this way. I think it's worth the extra work in this one, whereas normally I prefer to work in the large space. But again, that's personal preference. The only thing that I suggest is if you're going to do one way or the other, always remain consistent so that your stitch pattern has the consistency to look like a pattern. Okay, we're going to find our center chain again and work 5 double crochets in that chain. Okay, we're going to repeat this around and go ahead and finish this round, and I'll show you how to end it and begin the next one. Okay, we've now come to the end of this round, and instead of finishing it with a chain 5 and slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 at the beginning of the round, I'm going to chain 2 and double crochet to the top of the chain 3 at the beginning of the round. As soon as I can get in there. Sometimes stretching a little bit with my fingernails helps. Okay, so now that puts us in the center and at the top of this chain 5 space. So we're going to single crochet in that same space, chain 3, and now we're going to work a 3 double crochet cluster over 3 of the 5, over the 3 center of the 5 double crochets in the previous round. So we're going to skip the first and the last. We're going to yarn over, insert our hook into the second double crochet, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert our hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert our hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. We now have 4 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through all 4 loops on the hook, and that is a 3 double crochet cluster. Chain 3, single crochet in the next chain 5 space, chain 5, single crochet in the next chain 5 space, chain 3, and that's the repeat. So we're going to start again with a 3 double crochet cluster over the second, third, and fourth of the 5 double crochets in the round previous, starting with yarn over, insert your hook in the second double crochet, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert your hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert your hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. We now have 4 loops on our hook, yarn over, and pull through all 4 loops on the hook. I'll show you one more repeat here. So we'll go, we did a chain 3, single crochet in the chain 5 space, chain 5, single crochet in the next chain 5 space, chain 3, and I'll show you one more of the 3 double crochet cluster. Yarn over, skip the first stitch, insert your hook in the second stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. You now have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, insert your hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. We now have 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over, insert your hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. We now have 4 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through all 4 loops on the hook. Chain 3, single crochet in the next chain 5 space. Let's do that all the way around. So as you see here, we've worked our way around the entire round, and we're going to replace the very last chain 5 with chain 2 and double crochet in the first stitch at the beginning of the round, because if you remember correctly, that equals a chain 5. But it puts us in the middle and the top of that last chain 5 space. So that puts us in position to do our first 5 double crochet shell in the center chain of this round, which is what we did in this previous round here. So we're going to do a chain 3, which counts as a double crochet, and double crochet in that same spot, and 3 more for a total of 5. Okay, then we're going to chain 5, single crochet into the top of the cluster stitch from the previous round, chain 5, and 5 double crochets in the center chain of the next chain 5 space. Which, if you may realize at this point that we are now repeating what we've already done in previous rounds, this is just a 2-round repeat. We're going to alternate the rounds of the 5 double crochets with 2 chain 5 spaces with the round of 1 3 double crochet cluster and a chain 5 and 2 chain 3s. So we do a chain 5, we're going to single crochet in the top of the cluster stitch from the previous round, 2, 3, 4, chain 5, and we're going to find that center chain again and work 5 double crochets in it. Okay, I've laid it flat here so you can see we're almost all the way around the round now, and we're going to replace the last chain 5 with a chain 2 double crochet in the first stitch, because if you remember correctly, chain 2 and a double crochet is the equivalent of a chain 5 space, but it gives us the ability to end in the middle, in the center and the top of that chain 5 space. It allows us to get started on the next round, which is going to be a repeat of 2 rounds ago, which was the 5 double crochet round. So we're going to do a chain 3, which counts as the first double crochet, and we're going to work 4 more double crochets in the same space for a total of 5. And then we're chain 5 and single crochet in the top of the next cluster stitch, chain 5, and 5 double crochets in the center chain of the next chain 5 space. And I'm going to set the work back down again after this to show you one more thing. Remember how I said in the first candle holder how I did all the increases in the very beginning so that you didn't have to do any increases in the stitch pattern? Well, this one's the same, and at this point you may be worried that it looks awfully ruffly, but what's happening is as we grow in this direction, grow outward, it's going to end up lying a lot more flat. So just stick with it for a little bit. In about 2 more rounds for sure it'll start looking flat, and then after that, because we're not doing any more increases, it'll then start looking like a hat. The walls will start coming up. So we're going to continue with this round, which again is a repeat of what we've done already. We're just repeating 2 rounds for this pattern. It's the rounds with the 5 double crochets alternating with the rounds of the 3 double crochet cluster. So what I'm going to do is just continue on in the established pattern, and then I'll check back with you when I have something to show, something different to show. Okay, we're now at the end of round 5, and we're going to end this replacing the last chain 5 with a chain 2 and double crochet in the top of the first stitch at the beginning of the round. This particular round had a chain 3 to count as a double crochet at the beginning of the round, so you're going to double crochet into the top chain of that chain 3, and that chain 2 and double crochet now counts as your chain 5 space. Chain 1, single crochet in the same space, chain 3. Our next stitch is a 3 double crochet cluster over the 3 center double crochets in the chain 5 double crochet shell. So we're going to yarn over, skip the first stitch, insert our hook in the second stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert our hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert our hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. We now have 4 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through all 4 loops on the hook. Our 3 double crochet cluster is now complete. Chain 3, single crochet in the next chain 5 space, chain 5, and single crochet in the next chain 5 space, chain 3, and we're going to work a 3 double crochet cluster over the center 3 double crochets here again. So skip the first one, work into the second, the third, and the fourth, and yarn over and pull through all 4 loops on your hook, chain 3, single crochet in the next chain 5 space, chain 5, and we're going to work in this established pattern now around the entire round. I'll show you how we finish it at the end. All right, we're now at the end of round 6, and we're going to replace the last chain 5 with chain 2 and double crochet into the first stitch at the beginning of the round. And we're going to start with, we're starting with chain 3 to count as a double crochet now, and work 4 more doubles in that same spot. After this round, we're probably going to be pretty flat, and at that point we can check our size on the glass bubble vase. You know, it's not a super exact science of crocheting a piece of lace to go on a glass vase, so there will be some give. Luckily, we have some stretch in the yarn, so we will be able to fudge it if it's a little too big when we're fitting it on there. We won't be able to fudge it if it's a little too small. So at the end of this round, I'm going to show you how to determine if you're on the money or close enough to keep going. And in the meantime, we are going to continue working 5 double crochets in the center chain of the chain 5 space, chain 5, single crochet in the top of the cluster stitch, chain 5, and 5 double crochets in the next center chain. You know the drill. I'll talk to you again at the end of this round. All right, so you'll see we're at the end of round 7 now, and it is laying pretty flat at this point. So what I would like to do, and before I move things around, I always like to stretch the loop on my hook really long and exaggerated, because that way if something tugs on the yarn, you won't unravel stitches right away. So what I'm going to do here is lay it over the globe and make sure that the sides are coming up without ruffling too much and without having to stretch too much. And this looks like it just about fits perfectly. So we're going to continue on. If at this point it was really difficult to stretch it around the sides, because you notice how it has a diameter on the bottom, but then the actual bubble is quite large. So that's why this is harder to determine the size than, say, a hat. You don't want it that wide because it wouldn't be wide enough to go around this part. So we need it wide enough to go around the whole thing. And as I'm coming up the sides here, I'm feeling like I'm not having to stretch so hard that I feel like I've reached the maximum stretch of the yarn. So I know we have plenty of give left. So I feel good about this. And at this point, because our motif is completely flat, I know that on the following rounds now, it's going to start coming up as walls along the side. So let's go back to crocheting. Let's get a couple more rounds done, and then we'll check back in again, and I'll show you what those walls look like. All right, so we just finished round 10, and I wanted to show you that we've got walls now. See how it's starting to go up vertically instead of splay out flat anymore? And that is because of the lack of decreases. We've actually reached our maximum width, and now it has to move upward because there are no more increases. So what I'll do now is I'm going to, like I did last time, is exaggerate the loop on my last stitch really long so that I don't unravel anything. And then we'll set it on top of the globe again, or balloon vase, and see how it's able to easily cover the sides. So we're doing fine. So we're going to need about 3 or 4 more rounds. I will show you when I get there, and I'll show you what it looks like. We're just repeating those last 2 rounds that we've been repeating all along. Let's do 3 or 4 more rounds and then check back in again to see if it's ready to join to the top of the vase. We are ready to begin joining the lace to the vase. And what's really funny at this point is that this looks like a jumbled pile of nothing, and what's going to happen is once we stretch it over the vase, it's going to look like a beautiful piece of lace. I wondered if you had noticed that in the first part of this video, when we were doing the smaller globe, I was very particular about the number of rounds and the number of stitches, whereas on this one I was a little more vague, and that's because you may not find your materials at the same exact stores that I went to, or you might not find the exact same sizes. So I want to make sure, like I haven't even written the pattern for this particular one yet, and I did that intentionally so that you could see the process, that I'm doing a little bit of trial and error to make sure that things fit accordingly, because you're going to have this same scenario if you're using something slightly different than what I'm using as well. So now we're going to put the piece of lace over the bowl, and you want to try to line up the center with the center. And what we're going to do is this round is going to be chain 3 and single crochet around. So we're going to chain 3 and single crochet into the top of the next cluster, and then chain 3 and single crochet in the next chain 5 space, chain 3, single crochet in the next cluster. And just like in the last one, it's going to get a little wonky at times, and it's a little hard to hold the yarn in your left hand at times, and sometimes you're going to have to exaggerate the movement of the single crochet. It might need to be done in 2 steps to get the hook through both loops instead of one continuous step like a normal single crochet. So we'll just keep going and sliding our work around as we go. Okay, we'll do another chain 3 and single crochet to the top of the next cluster, and then chain 3, single crochet to the next chain 5 space. Oh, I got it in one move, nice. Those will be far and few between on this round though. Chain 3. Okay, we started sliding, so I want to get this adjusted a little bit. There we go. Chain 3. And we're going to single crochet to the top of the next cluster stitch. Then chain 3. Single crochet to the next chain 5 space. 1, 2, and 3. Single crochet in the next cluster. Chain 2, 3, single crochet in the next chain 5, 1, 2, 3, single crochet in the next cluster, chain 3. We're getting close to the, here we go, we're back to the beginning now. And I think we could use one more round here. So I'm going to slip stitch to join that one and adjust it a little bit. We could stop here, but I think just to make it a little more secure, what I'm going to do is slip stitch into the first chain 3 space, chain 1, and single crochet in that same space, chain 2. And so for this round we're going to do a chain 2, single crochet in the next chain 3 space all the way around. Chain 3, single crochet in the next chain 3 space. Or did I do that right? One, nope, I counted wrong. We needed to chain 2, single crochet in the next chain 3 space. I said it backwards. So chain 2, single in the next chain 3, chain 2, single in the next chain 3. So we're just going to repeat this all the way around. And you see we get a much firmer lip on the top here. There's no way this is ever going to slide off of the base now. It's actually getting a little easier to handle now too, that it's secure on there. Now at the craft store that I was at, these vases came in sizes from 4 inches, which was the small one I did, 5.5 like this one, 8 inches, and if they went up even further from there. And I have the patterns, I will have the patterns written for all 3 of those sizes, but depending on where you go for the vases, you may end up finding them in other sizes too, so it's just going to be a little bit of trial and error based on being close to the sizes that my patterns are written for. And I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out. And besides the fact that there's a lot of room for forgiveness in this kind of project, once you are close, if you go over a little bit in your gauge or in your size, a little bit baggy on here won't be as noticeable as obviously if you went too tight. There is no give in glass, so well, I'm having a hard time with this slip stitch. Anyway, trying to get through both loops. And when this happens to me, I don't know about you, but I usually take my fingernails and try to get under all the loops. So if I can't do it with the blunt hook, something sharper like my fingernail will get it, or the yarn needle. That's another good one, a blunt yarn needle. So there we go, we've got that slip stitch. We're going to cut it and slide it through. I don't have my scissors, so I'll just cut it off. Fasten that off. You're just going to weave in the loose end here and the loose end on the bottom. Add your flameless votive candle and you are good to go.